Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlin Ebel Ame with the news. We begin with the newly appointed ministers. President Muhammadu Buhari has warned the newly appointed ministers not to allow issues relating to political affiliation, sectional interest, and primordial loyalties becloud their patriotic obligation towards shifting nation's trajectory on the path of sustainable growth and development. He said meaningful progress can only be made in Nigeria's restoration effort, and it can be also committed themselves towards addressing prevailing challenges in the best interest of all Nigerians. This was at the swearing-in of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the 43 newly appointed members of the Federal Executive Council. The President urged the ministers to work closely with their respective permanent secretaries and heads of government parastatals to deliver their mandate. Ministries of FCT, Justice, Education, Transportation, Foreign Affairs, Information and Culture, Works and Housing, Science and Technology, as well as Water Resources, have their former ministers back to the ministries. The Human Rights Commission has resolved to ensure that human rights are well mainstreamed in government policies and programs for smooth operation. This is coming at the heels of the inauguration of the new executive councils. The President urged the ministers to work closely with the newly appointed ministries.
Legitimacy of government in a democratic setting depends on its ability to protect the people, respect their rights, and promote same towards achieving the desired sustainable development goals. With the inauguration of new ministers, the National Human Rights Commission believes that maintenance of human rights in all operations is key to earning the trust of the people.
The government will be seen by the people as a people-centered government based on which its legitimacy and continued exercise of authority will devolve. The sustainable development goals will be achieved to the credit of the government of the day. Good governance is the result. Insecurity will be highly reduced. The fight against corruption will be strengthened and made sustainable through the culture of accountability embedded in the human rights-based approach. The provision of peaceful, just and fair environment for peaceful development of the country will result.
The National Human Rights Commission condemned the attack on the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and other Nigerians, describing it as an assault on collective human rights. In Abuja, Umenka Marachuku, NTA News.
You are still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a commercial break and come back shortly. Please stay with us.
His Royal Highness, the Emir of Gondu, Major General Muhammad Ilyas Bashar, CFR MNI, on behalf of the family of Al-Hajj Muhammad Saad Abu Bakr, CFR MNI, the Sultan of Sokoto, cordially invite the pleasure of friends and well-wishers to the wedding party of Fatima Abu Bakr and Mahmoud Abdullah Yuguda, which will take place at Sultan Bello Jumat Mosque, Sokoto. Date, Saturday, 21st August 2019. Time, 12 p.m. Announcer, Local Organizing Committee.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first, get it fresh.
Thank you for staying with us on Nationwide. Now we are going to our Sokoto Network Center with Abdurrahman standing by.
Good afternoon, Nolin, and welcome to Sokoto. Dialogue has been described as the best option for solving challenges of any type. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar stated this when committee members of finding solutions to armed banditry in Zamfara State visited him at the palace. Shehu Muhammad Datti reports.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar was emphatic that no problem is beyond solution, but commitment and determination is what proffers solution. While commending the state government for the initiative, the Sultan challenged the committee members to regard their assignment as service to humanity. He called on people of Zamfara State to learn to forgive the past and embrace the peace that is gradually returning to the state.
And we believe others should also emulate the governor of Zamfara wherever there is crisis, because dialogue is the best option to any problem in the world.
Chairman of the committee and former Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Dahiru Abubakar, informed the Sultan that the committee has so far visited 16 emirates in the state with a view to finding a lasting solution to the heinous act. Dahiru Abubakar noted that apart from the release of over 500 kidnapped persons without ransom, economic activities have returned in Zamfara State. Even though consultations are still on, no condition was given by the bandits, while the committee will look into the possibility of suggesting empowerment scheme for the ex-bandits.
The conditionality is, can we have peace? Can we be left alone? Can we return back to our homes? Can we do our normal businesses? And this is what everybody wants.
The committee has as members retired security personnel, legal practitioners, retired civil servants, and politicians. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
The Islamic pilgrimage is a spiritual exercise that comes with a lot of experiences and discoveries. One of these experiences that excites most pilgrims is the Zamzam water. Musa Abubakar in this report examines its benefits to the people.
It's not just thirst that is attracting these pilgrims, as this is no ordinary water. Zamzam water is one of the treasuries that can only be found in abundance in the holy city of Mecca. Perhaps that's why these pilgrims are eager to have a taste.
As a pilgrim, I have taken much of it. I have a very much desire of it. Whenever I enter into the haram, I have to drink Zamzam, plenty of it, about 3 to 4 times before I come out from the masjid.
It is believed that the water is medicinal and capable of healing ailments depending on the conviction.
Before you drink it, trying to take attention why you want to drink it. This is good. Again, when you believe, you drink water, Zamzam, like our prophet said, anything you take attention for it, our God can help you, can give you.
For Aliu Idris, having had the opportunity to enjoy the holy water is something he will forever cherish as he looks forward to taking some back to Nigeria. In Sokoto, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Sokoto. Back to Norlin in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Abdurrahman. And in Abuja here, Nasarawa State government says perpetrators of Tuesday's evening attack on Deputy Governor's convoy, Emmanuel Akabe, will be fished out and appropriately brought to justice. At an emergency security council meeting in Lafia, Governor Abdullahi Sule warns that the government cannot allow evil people to disrupt the peace in the state. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
The deputy governor convoy ran into violent attack by suspected gunmen alleged to have specialized in carrying out coordinated operations across different states. The robbery operations claimed lives of 3 personnel of the Nigerian police attached to the pilot of the deputy governor and a driver, including a yet-to-be-identified victim. Governor Abdullahi Sule expressed shock over the incident and sympathized with the state, security agencies and the immediate families of victims of the attack and appealed to the public to be calm.
The government will continue to do everything possible and provide security and encourage the security agencies and empower the security agencies to discharge their responsibilities in line with their policies and guidelines. And will support the families of the victims.
The governor assures of thorough investigation to unravel the ugly incident and bring perpetrators of the dastardly act to justice.
We cannot allow them to overcome us. I want you to be strong, and I want you to continue to put in your best efforts to protect the people of Nasarawa State and to ensure that we continue to live in peace with one another.
The council later went into a closed-door session to review the security architecture of the state and to take deliberate measures that will restore sanity in Lafia. Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Next is Enugu Network Center, and Mina is standing by. Hello, Mina.
Thank you, Norlin. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu Network Center. About 60 physically challenged persons at the Special School for the Blind, Oju River, have benefited from the federal government agricultural project tagged Agro-Processing Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Appeal. Chineye Nwoye reports.
The World Bank Assisted Agricultural Program is aimed at making women, youths and people with disability self-reliant. Commending the Enugu State Governor for attracting the project, Mr. Ambrose Iboke noted that grants will be given to successful applicants who are between the ages of 18 and 40, selected after registration and training to be organized by their office. He named the agricultural businesses where the grants will be invested in to include cashew, poultry and rice farming, among others. Women and Youth Livelihood Specialist, Enugu Agro-Processing Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support appeals, Mrs. Ihuoma program.
Here we intend to link our beneficiaries to businesses, to off-takers who will, buy off their products.
Participants at the event, including people with disabilities, spoke to NTA News.
The World Bank calling out us today, all of us, people with disabilities, coming together and discussing and telling us the information in this project. I mean, it is fantastic.
Actually, I am more than overwhelmed. This is my first time of experiencing a positive reaction of government towards people living with impairment.
According to the organizers, Enugu State is among the 6 states in Nigeria that will benefit from the World Bank funding program. Others are Lagos, Kaduna, Kano, Kogi, and Cross River states. In Enugu, Chineye Nwoye, NTA News.
Enugu State Government, through the World Bank Assisted Community and Social Development Projects, CSDP, has disbursed checks worth 23 million naira to 6 gender and vulnerable groups in the state with a mandate to execute projects that will benefit their community. Chidi Ukurafo has details.
The groups are Chidera Gender and Vulnerable Group in
and in the local government area and in Kano West local government area. Presenting the checks, the General Manager, Community and Social Development Projects, Enugu State, Mr. Mazimus Asogwa, charged them to ensure transparency, accountability, and judicious use of the funds.
This one is mainly targeted at the vulnerable people. Vulnerability is not only physical, it can come in another form. But mainly, what we expect is that the person must be generally very, very poor and be vulnerable.
Representatives of the groups, the gesture, said the funds will go a long way in alleviating their plight.
I'm thanking you to greet Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi that will remember us today. This is the first time. I'm happy.
My heart is very, very full in joy. So I'm very, very grateful.
Beneficiaries were also trained on how to invest. Some of the projects to be executed include electricity, renovation of schools, construction of health centers, among others. Under the program, the benefiting communities will contribute 5% of the fund, while the World Bank will provide 95% funding for the projects. In Enugu, Chidi Okrafo, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from the Enugu Network Center. Is back to you, Nolene, for a continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Mina. Now, the Presidential Election Petition Court has a reserved judgment in the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Atiku Abubakar. The 5-man court led by Justice Mohammed Garba gave the ruling this Wednesday after adoption of final addresses by counsel in the matter. Delatumbi reports.
Hearing, counsel in the petition of People's Democratic Party adopted their final written addresses before the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja. Counsel to the Independent National Electoral Commission, Ustaz Usman SAN, in adopting his written address, urged the court to strike out the petition with costs. Usman SAN told the court that from the evidence of the witnesses by the petitioners, the electoral umpire conducted the February 23 presidential election in line with the provisions of the law as provided for in the Electoral Act. On the issue of electronic transmission of results, INEC, relying on Section 52 of the Electoral Act, maintained that result of the presidential election was never transmitted electronically. Counsel to President Muhammadu Buhari, Wole Olanipekun SAN, told the court that the petition is stabbed in evidence, thereby crying to air heavens for help without proving its case. On the eligibility of President Muhammadu Buhari to contest the presidential election, Wole Olanipekun SAN, relying on sections 131 and 318 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, said the Constitution was clear on the matter. Olanipekun SAN said since the petitioners failed on their part to prove their case, urged the court to dismiss the petition with substantial cost. Lateef Agbemi SAN, counsel to the APC, posited that from all the witnesses called by the petitioners, only 5 were those who witnessed what purportedly happened at the polling units in a presidential election conducted all over the Federation, where the petitioners were challenging its conduct in 119,923 polling units. Agbemi SAN urged the court to dismiss the petition since it was in want of evidence. Counsel to all the respondents were unanimous in objecting to the admissibility of all the documents tendered by the petitioners in their written addresses. Livy Uzogu SAN, counsel to the petitioners, urged the court to uphold the petition, having proved their case. In the petition, the PDP and its candidate Atiku Abubakar are challenging the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari in the February 23 presidential election. To prove their case, the petitioners called 62 witnesses. President Muhammadu Buhari has the second respondent in the case through his counsel, Wole Olanipekun SAN, called 7 witnesses who told the 5-man presidential election petition court, led by Justice Mohammed Garba, that the presidential election was free, fair, and credible. The APC and INEC closed their defense without calling any witness. The PDP and its candidate are challenging the conduct of the presidential election in 11 states in the North Central, Northeast, and Northwest geopolitical zones of the country.
We as lawyers, we have concluded our professional duties. What is now left is for the court to study the evidence, read the addresses, the law, examine the authorities cited, and then deliver its judgment. And whichever way the decision of the court goes, this case will define electoral jurisprudence in this country.
Other counsel in the matter declined comments. The Presidential Election Petition Court has between now and 15th September 2019 to deliver its judgment in line with the provision of the law, as the adjudication on this petition cannot go beyond 180 days from the day of filing it. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
From judiciary to security now, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai has tasked Army personnel to acquire information communication technology skills with a view to enhancing their command and tactical operations. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachuku reports that the Chief of Army Staff gave the charge at the 2019 Sergeant Majors Convention in Kaduna.
306 regiment sergeant majors from different army formations across the country converged on Kaduna for the convention with the theme Professionalism Through Regimentation in the Nigerian Army. It focuses on new trends and methods of soldiering for national defense and security. Chief of the Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai acknowledged the viability of information communication technology in modern warfare and asked participants to key into the new trend with a view to remaining relevant in the service.
We have the influence of the social media. These are key nowadays in our regimentation. So you must embrace ICT. You must embrace the urge to be digital.
On national unity and integration, the Chief of Army Staff says a deliberate language policy has been introduced to enable Army officers and soldiers understand more local languages that will assist in intelligence gathering. The convention is an annual event that brings together sergeant majors to cross-fertilize new ideas for successful operations. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Gachkun, NTA News.
We earlier told you that the inauguration of the newly appointed ministers, and here is a report from Ruth Agwele gives a breakdown of the 43 new ministers and their portfolios as assigned by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Dr. Uche Chukwu Oga, Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development. Mohamed Musa Bello, Minister of FCT. Godswill Akpabio, Minister of Niger Delta. Chris Ingige, Minister of Labour and Employment. Sharon Ikazo, Minister of State Environment. Adamu, Minister of Education. Mariam Katagum, Minister of State Industry, Trade and Investment. Timipre Silva, Minister of State Petroleum. George Akume, Minister of Special Duties and Internal Affairs. Mustafa Baba Shehuri, Minister of State Agriculture and Rural Development. Godi Jadi Agba, Minister of State Power. Festus Keyamo, Minister of State Niger Delta. Ogbonnaya Onu, Minister of Science and Technology. Osage Ehanere, Minister of Health. Clement Ike, Minister of State, Budget and National Planning. Richard Adeniyi Adebayo, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. Jeffrey Onyama, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Ali Isa Pantami, Minister of Communications. Emeka Nwajuba, Minister of State, Education. Suleiman Adamu, Minister of Water Resources. Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance. Muhammad Mahmoud, Minister of Environment. Sabo Nanono, Minister of State, Agric and Rural Development. Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi, Minister of Defense. Hadi Sirika, Minister of Aviation. Abubakar Malami, Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Ramatu Tijani, Minister of State, FCT. Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information and Culture. Gbemisola Saraki, Minister of State Transportation. Babatunde Fashola, Minister of Works and Housing. Adeleke Mamora, Minister of State Health. Mohamed Abdullahi, Minister of State Science and Technology. Zubair Dada, Minister of State Foreign Affairs. Olamilekan Adegbite, Minister of Mines and Steel Development. Tayo Alasho Adura, Minister of State, Labour and Employment. Rauf Aregbeshola, Minister of Interior. Sunday Dare, Minister of Youth and Sports. Pauline Tallon, Minister of Women Affairs. Rotimi Amechi, Minister of Transportation, Megari Dengyadi, Minister of Police Affairs, Saleh Mamman, Minister of Power, Abubakar Aliyu, Minister of State, Works and Housing, Sadia Umar Farouk, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management.
Some analysts have commended President Muhammadu Buhari for appointing men of integrity into Federal Executive Council following the assignment of portfolios to the newly sworn-in ministers. While speaking on NTA's current affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria, political affairs analyst Ade Omole commended the president for painstakingly selecting men of integrity that will complement achievements recorded in the first 4 years of his administration, while
people out of poverty. And how do you actually do that? Create jobs, provide an enabling environment, ensure that we have the right infrastructure, and also at the same time ensure that you put in place policies that will actually lift more people out of our poverty. And looking at what's happened in the last 2 days, the fact that the president actually thought of actually starting with a retreat for the ministers, it's about getting all the ministers to work from one to all sing from one page, and also get them ready for the great task ahead.
While Ibrahim Modibo, who is a public affairs analyst, said righting the wrongs of the past is a great accomplishment for Mr. President, and expressed optimism that the new ministers will deliver the mandate given them by the president.
Therefore, it is incumbent on them to sit down, have a focus, sense of direction based on philosophies and principles and great thinking of Mr. President. What are the thoughts of Mr. President at this point in time? There are a lot of challenges facing Nigerians. When you look at the issue of fixing the economy, when you look at the issue of insecurity, and also when you look at the issue of fighting corruption.
The number of the newly appointed ministers is 43. Nigeria is set to make meaningful progress that will yield visible results in the lives of its citizenry, following the domestication of its homegrown analytical framework designed to enable the integration of sustainable development goals. To this effect, relevant players converged on Abuja to brainstorm on its operation. Momso Damian Datti reports.
6 states of the Federation, including the FCT, policymakers trooped to this venue. The focus is to validate an integrated sustainable development goals model domestically developed to suit Nigeria's peculiar challenges to meet the 2030 target.
Policies on certain SDGs need to be reviewed.
These facilitators are hoping to prioritize the goals and mainstream them into public policies, plans and budgets.
We are happy that we're able to use that model to carry out analysis and costing of projects, programs and policies that will be able to mainstream into our development process.
Nigeria is on a pathway to progress in achieving the SDGs. However, what's needed at this stage is a quantum leap to really get onto track in achieving them.
The 2030 agenda envisions economic sustainability, social inclusiveness, and environmental resilience, all targeted at improving livelihoods. Momso Damian Datti, NTA News.
Governor Obaseki warns against corruption in public office. Obehi in Benin has more on this and other stories trending in our Benin Network Center. Hello Obehi, how is Benin doing today?
Hello Nolin, Benin is very well, thank you for joining us in Benin. Edo State government is putting modalities in place to ensure prompt investigation of reported cases of corruption in the state and local government services, with the governor, Godwin Obaseki, emphasizing that culprits will be made to face the law. This was shortly after swearing in a commissioner at the weekly State Executive Council meeting in Government House. Good luck, Inaini reports.
The swearing-in of Mr. Richard Uyi Edebri afforded the governor the opportunity to make his position known on the issue of corruption. Governor Obaseki is not happy with the reports of some officials involved in alleged corrupt practices. He told the council that the state government is partnering ICPC in order to sensitize them on the dangers of corruption. He says the state government is to establish a ministerial team that will assist in opening a public complaint office to enable members of the public report cases of corruption in the state.
This government is going to take the issue of corruption very, very seriously. Any case of corruption found against any officer will be dealt with ruthlessly. We will not only take action, take disciplinary action, we will prosecute. So we are partnering with the ICPC as part of the orientation. They will be running programs. And because the incidents and reports of corruption are getting in office, are becoming more recent.
He charged the newly sworn-in commissioner to see his new appointment as a call to serve. In Benin, good luck in Aini. NT News.
And now to security. The 2-Division Nigerian Army 2019 Combat Proficiency Competition being hosted by the 4 Brigade Benin City has commenced at the Ekewa Military Cantonment. The opening ceremony, designed to improve the combat readiness of junior army commanders, was attended by representatives of heads of sister security agencies in the state. Judah Weke reports.
Brigadier General Soji, who is representing the GOC 2 Division of the Nigerian Army, wants the competing officers to exhibit the spirit of sportsmanship during and after the competition.
This competition is designed, among others, to improve the leadership qualities of junior commanders, challenge their initiatives, and prepare them for higher responsibilities.
Chief host of the competition, Commander 4 Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Greg Omogbe, advised the officers to be good ambassadors of their various formations.
You must shun any act of misconduct capable of tarnishing your image or your career.
The formations include 22 Brigade Ilori, 32 Brigade Akure, 2 Division Garrison, a component of 81 Battalion Ibadan. Others include 42 Engineering Brigade Ibadan, with the elements of Engineering Construction Command, AD, and 52 Signal Brigade Ibadan, as well as the host formation, 4 Brigade Benin City. The 5-day event, which will end this Friday, will witness the participating formations competing of physical fitness, minor tactics, skill at arms and shooting, combat swimming, among others. From the Ekewa Military Cantonment in Benin City, Jude Aweke, NTA News.
From security to human capital development, the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists, NAWOJ Ondo State Council, is advocating for more platforms where school children can be productively engaged in skills and entrepreneurial development, especially during holidays. NAWOJ chairperson Doris Olumoko made the appeal at the summer boot camp organized by the wife of the state governor in Ilaramoki, where about 250 young girls are undergoing training on ICT, solar power installation, and entrepreneurial skills. Toyin Battery reports.
Members of the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists NAWOJ in the state were taking round various sections of the training center in Ilaramoki, where the First Lady is training young girls from 18 local governments on different vocational skills for them to be self-reliant. The chairperson of NAWOJ in the state, Doris Olumoko, commended the initiative, urging wife of the governor not to relent in her efforts at impacting positively on women and young girls in the state.
I want to commend you greatly for this giant strike. We are women journalists and we do a lot of advocacy work. We cannot do anything without your office.
The girls were taught about the positive ways of using ICT, social media and other media platforms to fight all forms of abuses against the women folk.
The social media made it possible for your voice and my voice to be heard instantly.
They both stressed the need to work together in changing the narrative of women. In Akure, Toyin Basire, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Benin. Nolene has more on Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Obehi. And back to Abuja, Still on the inauguration of the newly appointed ministers, the All Progressives Congress congratulate President Muhammadu Buhari and the newly inaugurated ministers. The party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary Lanre Issa Onilu, notes with utmost satisfaction the painstaking efforts the president made in picking the new ministers, their speedy screening and confirmation by the Senate, in addition to the rigorous induction of the new appointees towards acquainting them to the onerous task of assisting the president fulfill his promises of repositioning the economy, ensuring security of lives and property, and fighting corruption. The party equally notes that there are challenges to build on the foundations that have been laid in the last 4 years by the APC-led government, geared to lift Nigerians out of poverty, secure lives and property, grow the economy, build infrastructure, bring back discipline to private and public conduct, and mobilize Nigerians through personal examples towards evolving a Nigeria all can be proud of. The APC urges the new ministers to justify the confidence reposed on them by the president and indeed all Nigerians by settling down to work quickly and hit the ground running and consolidate on the progress that have been made in the various sectors. In line with the federal government's mandate on prisons decongestion, 15 awaiting trial inmates in both Okekura and Madala prisons in Ilorin, Kwara State, have regained their freedom. The Chief Judge of Kwara State, Justice Suleiman Kau, said this is to make the prisons conducive for inmates. Aisha Abubakar Ehaya has the details.
Okekura prison in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, has 368 inmates awaiting trial, 7 life imprisoned, 83 convicted and 64 condemned inmates, while that of Mandala prison is 283 inmates. Worried by this high number of inmates, Kwara State Chief Judge Justice Durosilon Kau, in company of the State's Judicial Council, visited the prisons for the congestion of the inmates. 10 out of those awaiting trials in Okekura and 5 at Mandala regained their freedom.
Examine cases of persons held in prisons awaiting trial on federal offences with a view to freeing those held needlessly, to examine prison conditions in your state and free those eligible to be released, inclusive of those awaiting arraignment or trial on state offences if the offences dictate leniency.
The Nigerian Prison Service also had the opportunity to intimate the Chief Judge on the challenges being faced. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
There is need for government and the global community to design strategies that will guarantee total integration of victims of terrorism. This view was emphasized by respondents in Lagos as the world marks Day of Remembrance and Tribute to the Victims of Terrorism. Michael Olale reports.
The world is experiencing the highest rate of displacement, as about 71 million people globally have been forced away from their homes by conflicts and terrorism, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency. Nigeria is not an exemption, as more than 100 people were reportedly killed by the Boko Haram sect in 2017, with over 2 million people displaced by acts of terrorism. Apart from the loss of lives and displacement of residents, the Global Terrorism Index put the economic impact of terrorism at $52 billion in 2017. What now stares at the face of the global community is how to make the voices of victims of terrorism heard, supported, and their rights upheld.
In Borno, we have 3.3 million. Beyond IDP camp, what is the life that these people are going to live?
Although Nigeria is expanding its Northeast Early Recovery Program to give a new lease of life to victims of terrorism, but respondents are looking beyond the horizon.
The state should assist further by way of either grants, soft loan, farming implement, and for those who are breadwinners that unfortunately have their life terminated, if they have children behind who are in school, federal government can, or state government as the case may be, can go further to give the children scholarship.
In 2017 alone,
About 3/4 of all deaths caused by terrorism were in just 5 countries alone, Nigeria inclusive. This is why the United Nations inaugurated the International Day of Remembrance and Tribute to Victims of Terrorism. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
Thank you, Michael. And from Katsina, the Katsina State Police Command has paraded 20 suspects in connection with kidnapping, cattle rustling and armed banditry in the state. The acting police public relation officer of the command, ASP Anas Gezawa, paraded the suspects on behalf of the State Commissioner of Police, Sanusi Buba, at police headquarters in Katsina. Correspondent Abdul Malik Hassan has the reports.
Of the total suspects paraded, 5 are suspected fraudsters, 6 for car theft, 1 armed robber, and 2 which are among a notorious syndicate group that have been terrorizing the villages of Yarsanta, Kabuge, Yarkuka, Rimi, Zangongankara, Dinya, and Chedia villages in Kankara local government areas of Katsina State. Also paraded along with the suspect are over 40 arms and ammunitions with counterfeit of foreign and Nigerian currencies worth over 2 million naira. Commissioner of Police Sanusi Buba represented said the command will continue to work assiduously to ensure that Katsina State is rid of criminal activities.
The good citizens of Katsina State to be rest assured that all the information given will be treated with utmost confidentiality.
In Katsina, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We're going on break now and come back shortly. Please stay with us.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Thank you for staying with us on Nationwide. The need for Nigerians to be patriotic and respect leaders, especially in foreign lands, resonates at NTA's Good Morning Nigeria program, during which participants also advised them to put Nigeria first above sectarian interest that at the long run will defeat the country in a bad light. Patricia Esemoluba reports.
Action of a group of people known to be members of the proscribed Independent People of Biafra on the former Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ikeremadu, in German city of Nuremberg, Precisely 17th of August attracted reactions and condemnations by various political parties, leaders, and other well-meaning Nigerians home and abroad. Guest on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria, described the action as a wrong way of demonstrating their anger, which is unpatriotic of any Nigerian regardless of status or location.
Have you seen a single organization that agreed with the IPOB on what they did? Not one. We have more than 400 Igbo organizations, not one approved it, at home and the diaspora. So they have lost their sympathizers.
Immediately you decide to use violence to impose your will on the opinion of other person, then of course it becomes totally unacceptable.
The chairman, Nigeria Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, says the incident is an unfortunate one. She called on Nigerians to be law-abiding and always direct their complaints to appropriate authority in accordance with the laws binding in the country of residence.
And then there must be consequences for actions. And like I said, the diaspora desk, if we had an offenders register, the names of those people are on that register. So even if nothing is happening there, you see, you can't commit such a crime and just walk away with it like that. So on our own part, like I said, we're going to have an offenders register to deal with that particular issue.
She also reminded Nigerians to always register their presence to the embassy in the country to which they travel, as that can assist in making provision for their safety. Senator Ike Ikweremadu had traveled to Germany on invitation to celebrate the second annual Igbo Cultural Festival held in a city in Germany. Patricia Esamiluba, NTA News.
The issue of community policing has been a running debate with divergent views. Guests on NTA's current affairs program Tuesday Live say Nigeria stands to gain from community policing, especially with new security challenges popping in the country. Talatu Ezerike reports.
Segmented into urban and rural settlements. A common phenomenon for all is security, which many say is taken seriously at all levels to complement the effort of the police for effective results.
If your neighbor is engaged or is involved in one shady deal or the other, you'll be able to tell the head of the community, say, Baba, so has gone to the town, and whenever he comes to the village, this is the kind of thing that is always bringing.
While the changing pattern of crimes, voices are high for the implementation of community policing based on its proactive approach and its closeness to the people.
For us, if community policing will work, it's better for us because what we are spending now, I'm sure we are not going to spend as much on community policing.
We've put security on the top list. President Muhammadu Buhari has already given a directive and set of a committee to come up with the modalities on how to go about the police trust fund.
Others applaud federal government's commitment to community policing approach and other measures taken in improving the police force. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Organization BMO has held the reappointment of Presidential spokesperson Mr. Femi Adesina and Malam Garba Shehu as special advisor and senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, respectively. In a statement signed by its chairman, Ni Akinsuji, and Secretary Kaside Imadueke, the group says the reappointment is in recognition of the commitment to the task of nation building and the confidence the president reposed in them. BMO expresses confidence that the reappointment will afford them the opportunity to help drive the change agenda of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration to the next level. BMO also congratulates other members of the presidential media team for Mr. Laolu Akonde, Loretta Onochi, and Bashir Ahmed, and wishes them a successful second tenure. And still on ministers, Nigeria as an emerging market with relative growth in economic performance and investment is on the pathway of building a sustainable economy that will attract more foreign direct investment. Abolade Salami in this report examines the impact of an industrialized economy with a view to setting an agenda for the new Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment.
By the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that the total value of foreign investment into Nigeria in the first quarter of 2019 rose by 34.6% year-on-year to $8.5 billion, while the total value of capital importation stood at $8.485 billion in the same quarter of 2019. This performance industry players attributed to the federal government resolve at repositioning the economy towards ensuring ease of doing business and the industrialization of the economy.
We want him to critically look at the interplay of monetary and fiscal policies such that he is able to ensure that they work in a robust manner that supports productivity. So we do not have the monetary policy, for instance, subverting what the monetary policy is doing and vice versa.
The growth trajectory, they emphasized, could improve if the new Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment promotes policies that would boost trade.
The Minister to work closely with the PEBEC office, which is in charge of the...
Another commercial break beckons on Nationwide. Stay with us.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Let's join our sports decks for some sports stories with Kene Emabudike.